I will admit this. There are a lot of teams making decisions on if we're going to go for it for the next 3-4 years, or we're not going to go for it, or we got plans on going for it in 2 years. So I will say this offseason, if nothing else, is kind of shaping the NBA for the foreseeable future. We got so many freaking injuries that will carry over into next season. You're going to be down Jason Tatum. The Celtics been the best team in the league the last 5 years. The Celtics won't be good next year. We're going to be down the Milwaukee Bucks, most likely, who we're going to get into in a really brief second. They're going to be down essentially a second all-star caliber guy. We're going to be down Tyrese Halliburton. The Pacers were upticking fresh off of their finals run. You really don't know what you're getting out of the Western Conference. Will the Clippers still be relevant? What do the Lakers look like year 2 of the Luka Doncic experiment? The Houston Rockets have had a loud offseason. The Dallas Mavericks have had a loud 4 or 5 months. And neither one of those teams that I've mentioned out west are anywhere close to the reigning now NBA champion Oklahoma City Thunder that just locked up their dude of the future. So a lot to get into. I want to talk NBA free agency day one. The first and the biggest story to come out of NBA free agency has to be in Milwaukee. The Milwaukee Bucks are getting out of the Damian Lillard business after just 2 seasons. Remember, Dame had some reservations about going to Milwaukee and a trade in the beginning. The Bucks moved off of Drew Holiday, who had previously won them a championship. Lillard tore his Achilles in the playoffs. He's going to likely miss all of next season. Milwaukee's looking around like, how do we get better for Giannis next year? They're going to lose Brook Lopez. So the Bucks say, hey, we're going to waive and stretch Lillard's $113 million contract. They can do that over 4 years. You got about 15% of your salary that you can essentially waive and stretch. The Bucks are going to use pretty much all of that. And what that means is for the next 4 years, the Bucks are down $22.5 million of salary cap. They do get a little bit of that money back, and what Milwaukee did with it is they went out and got one of their rivals, the team that's beat them in the last couple postseasons. They're going and getting former now Indiana Pacers center Myles Turner. 4 years, $107 million is the deal. It's a player option on year 4 of the deal. So the Bucks do give Giannis some help, a stretch big that can also guard the paint. But at what cost? The cost is $113 million. Dame will now rehab in Portland, surrounded by his family, and try to make a return. Miami's going to be out there. The cost is going to be low for Dame because he's still going to be getting all his money from Milwaukee. Essentially, he'll get to choose what team makes the most sense for him to ride off in the sunset for the remainder of his career. What player will he be coming off of a torn Achilles? It's questions that we'll just have to wait and see. I'm not as low as most are on the Milwaukee Bucks for getting out of the Damian Lillard business. I do have some questions about who they left the Dame business for. You're going to now cost yourself $23 million for the next 4 years in salary cap space to pay Dame, who won't be on your roster. He may be tormenting you in a year on another team. You use that money. You got to go get a home run guard, in my estimations, with that money. Because you already pay Bobby Portis. You use it on Myles Turner, who's already 29 years of age and's got a lot of minutes and miles on that body, no pun intended. That part of it doesn't make sense to me. The Milwaukee Bucks are having a hard time letting go of their first real baddie. It's time for the Bucks to get out of the business of Giannis Antetokounmpo. He's in championship window mode. The Bucks need to be in rebuild mode. They got a ring out of the Giannis era, but what has happened is Giannis is so great night in, night out. If you got him on the court, you do have a chance every single night in any game. But it's time to move on and start this thing over fresh. You see, the Bucks got this baddie who's high maintenance, good to you, but you know not good for you at this point in your life. Y'all had a great time. Y'all traveled the world. Y'all had some wins. But now it's time to move on and start your life fresh, but it's your first real baddie and you don't know how to let go. It would have been a great time for the Bucks to trade Giannis instead of taking this cap hit of Dame and investing in Myles Turner at age 29, you still putting him around Kyle Kuzma, Kevin Porter, and Gary Trent, all fine individual talents, but nobody's picking the Bucks to win a round in the playoffs next season. They'll probably be a 5 seed at best. They couldn't get out of the baddie business, and that's where they stand with Giannis Antetokounmpo and this new, I guess you could call it, tuned roster. They're going to lose one of their young, talented guards. They had to essentially requalify his offer. They're going to lose Pat Connaughton, which I think you're good with. They traded him to Charlotte. That's fine. I mean, Pat Connaughton essentially got replaced by A.J. Green. But there's still not a lot of meat on this bone. I like Bobby Portis a lot. I covered him while I was in college at Tennessee. He was playing at Arkansas. But it doesn't move the needle right now. It doesn't make a lot of sense to be in the Bobby Portis business when Giannis needs some scorers. That's it. This is a bad start to the offseason in my estimations for Milwaukee. Not because they moved off of Dame, but it's because they couldn't trade Dame coming off of the Achilles injury. We've already talked about the team that I think got it wrong this offseason. What about the teams that's getting it right so far? The Atlanta Hawks have covered so much ground in just a week's time. The Hawks went out and grabbed Kristaps Porzingis with one of their 2 trade exceptions that they had. Essentially, you got him from Boston for free because the Celtics needed a cap shed. You get Porzingis in a contract year. Historically speaking, Kristaps has played really well when money's been on the line. Porzingis had a lot of weird illnesses last year. He's going to have to play ball this year, and the Hawks wasn't done. Trae Young has been recruiting a team that actually suits him. The Hawks went out and signed Nickeil Alexander-Walker for what I think is a reasonable deal. 4 years, $62 million for a dude that can defend at a high level, so Trae ain't got to try to do it. Then the Hawks went out and got some shooting around Young. They get Luke Kennard, 1 year, $11 million, one of the best shooters in the league. You don't have any long-term commitment to him. Atlanta, y'all, is here. ATL was popping. The Hawks have finally put a team around Trae Young that makes sense. I've talked to so many Hawks fans over the years that complain about Ice Trae. They complain about Ice Trae. But you want to know what's been the one consistent over the last 6, 7, 8 years in Atlanta? It's been Ice Trae. It's been Ice Trae. And I don't feel like the Hawks have ever put a team that makes sense around Ice Trae in Atlanta. Jalen Johnson coming back from an injury that cost him the second half of his season. I've had conversations with Kyle Korver and then GM Landry. They believe Jalen is going to be an all-star in this league for years to come. I think the Hawks did a great job and turned themselves into a team that play-in bound pretty much the last 4 or 5 years since the play-in's been around. Now I feel like they should be a 4 or 5 seed out east easily. The Denver Nuggets have said, Jokic, we hear you, and we're making some moves. The Nuggets traded Michael Porter Jr., and they had to give up an unprotected 2032 first-round pick to sweeten it for Brooklyn as the Nets give up on Cameron Johnson. We already know Cam's one of the better shooters in the league. He can put the ball on the ground when needed, but I think more important, you got a guy who knows his role, and we probably ain't seen nowhere near the best version of Cam because he ain't played with nowhere near as great as Nikola Jokic. All right, it's going to be different when Cam's getting open looks every time down. Cam's contract is only $21 million and then $23 million in the following years. It's reasonable. He knows his role. He's not going to shoot as much as MPJ does. He doesn't think he's the star of the team. What a great deal for Denver. And they weren't done. How about the Nuggets going and circling the block to get Bruce Brown back, who obviously helped the Nuggets win the title in 2023. Bruce was able to go out and see was the grass green on the other side. Well, the money was he got his bag, went to Indiana, went to Toronto, barely played. Now he's back in Denver where the Nuggets already know what they're getting in him, and they got him for the veterans minimum. Nuggets also went out and acquired Jonas Valanciunas for the cheap. They also went in and got some much-needed shooting. Tim Hardaway Jr. is in the fold as well. Denver, for the first time in a long time, have some direction on the perimeter, and they got some scoring. They got some big help. They went and bought in J.J. Barea. I heard he's one of Jokic's boys as a coach. The Nuggets are in business again. I think they're well on their way to being right there underneath OKC. They're not young enough to go chase down 64, 66 wins, but can they be 58, 59 wins and be a 2 seed out west? 1,000%. And the moves that the Nuggets have made immediately put them in a position to do that, moving off of their head coach and moving off of their general manager right before the end of the season. The Houston Rockets made a move in acquiring Kevin Durant that your boy Ferro thought was overrated. I love KD. He's a great scorer, and it's going to be big for the Rockets in the clutch. But I was like, okay, this is cool. I don't see what everybody else sees, saying this is a Western Conference Finals team. But I got to admit, the Rockets have made some moves since acquiring KD that I like a lot. They bringing back Fred VanVleet on a 2-year, $50 million deal. You're not paying him the arm in the moon, $25 million a clip for a serviceable, can be good point guard in the league, durable point guard. This is okay. Then the Rockets went out and I thought started swinging for the fences at forward and big. Dorian Finney-Smith for 4 years, $53 million. Getting him away from the Lakers is a huge steal. He's going to be a guy that can do some heavy lifting to keep some of those heavy minutes off of Durant in the regular season. You also go get some big support, in which the Rockets already had a great big unit in Şengün and Adams. You go get Clint Capella, bring him back to Houston, 3 years, $21.5 million. And then the Rockets give some security to some of their young guys, right? You give Jabari Smith a 5-year, $122 million extension. You put him next to Kevin Durant in the lab every day. By the end of that deal, you're expecting Jabari to be nothing short of an all-star. This is a top 3 pick we're talking about. He was him at Auburn, and I think he now has a chance to be him at the professional level. I think the world of Amin Thompson, he has enough room to flourish. And let's not forget, Shepherd couldn't even make the rotation last season for the Rockets. You got more clarity. He will now be an important piece. I love what the Houston Rockets did outside of just the Kevin Durant move. They've done some things to add some clarity. The Dallas Mavericks perhaps have the best roster top to bottom in the NBA. There is no position that they don't have great depth at, especially when they get Kyrie Irving back. And when he comes back in a Dallas Mavericks uniform, he's going to come back with some new money. The Mavs gave Kyrie 3 years, $119 million. So there was a world where the Mavs could have gotten out of the Kyrie business. He tore his ACL in February. The Mavs could have said, yo, Kai, you got to come back from injury and show us you're the player of old. You had previously talked about retiring around the age that you're at now in your career. Not only are the Mavs rewarding Kyrie for his hard work and his incredible talent, they've also, in the meantime, added D'Angelo Russell as the point guard, who's very serviceable, makes a lot of sense, has had experience playing with Anthony Davis. You put him there to replace Kyrie, and then you got this incredible depth at every position. Remember that dude, Klay Thompson? He can still shoot. They go get the #1 pick, which some are calling rigged. Cooper Flagg gets enough time to develop while Kyrie works himself back in the rotation. By the time Kai gets back, Cooper's probably going to be a 20-point-per-game scorer in the league. You mix in the fact that Anthony Davis got a lot of rest on that body without going through a postseason run. P.J. Washington is still hooping, and the Mavs, like the Rockets, got a lot of bigs. You're talking about the Daniel Gaffords of the world, the Derek Liveleys of the world. This team is stacked at every position, easily the most depth of any team in the league. Shout out to Dallas. Nico Harrison-Ware. All that talk about what he did wrong with Luka, I'm looking at a dude outside of the Luka move, done a lot of things right in the last couple years in Dallas. And if I deserved this bag were a person, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, fresh off of his regular season MVP, his Western Conference Finals MVP, his NBA championship and Finals MVP, the Oklahoma City Thunder are saying, bruh, here's every dime we got. You deserve it. They're adding 4 years, $285 million to Shai's deal that still got another couple years left. So essentially Shai's contract in totality over the next 6 seasons, $364 million for the NBA's most valuable player. the Thunder are saying, you are our guy. We know you're going to be our guy. Essentially, Shai's going to jump from making about $38 million next year. By the end of his new deal, he'll be around $63 million. It can get as high as $78 million during the 2030-2031 NBA season. They paid their guy. They're not done. This run is only getting started. The Oklahoma City Thunder, I'm sure in the next few weeks, months, are going to give Jalen Williams a new deal. He has clearly earned it as clearly being the second fiddle in OKC. They already got Isaiah Hartenstein locked up. They got enough money to lock in Chet Holmgren in the next year. That's going to work in well. They're able to keep some serviceable role players in the fold as well. OKC, ladies and gentlemen, is here to stay. Do I think they're going to win more championships? I don't know yet, right? But what I can say is they're never going to be outside of the top three out west during Shai's new contract. It's not going to happen. They're too talented, too hungry, and honest to God truth, they're too humble. Some other deals that I kind of laid my eyes on thus far in NBA free agency, James Harden getting a 2-year, $81.5 million deal. The irony in James Harden is he is one of the most constant stables you can get in the regular season. I hear all these people complaining about what Harden is not in the playoffs, and I won't argue with you. Yes, he's not going to be the guy that's going to have a 35-point Game 7. But we know that. We've known that for years. But I'll tell you what James Harden is when you need a guy in a regular season in December to win you some games and not go on a 5-game losing streak, that's who James Harden is. So the Clippers are not playing for a playoff performer. They're paying for a guy to make the playoffs. When Kawhi Leonard's down with injury, when you didn't know what you were getting in Paul George, you want to know who led them young dudes who they respect in the locker room, who's not only showing them how to get it done on the court, but probably showing them dudes a good time off the court. I'm sure the strippers are enjoying James Harden and his impact on the younger Bulls. James Harden is a constant professional, and I'm so sick of people telling me what Harden is not in the playoffs and not acknowledging what he's been in the regular season. This is one of the greatest regular season shooting guards of all time. Like, again, when you include the playoffs, obviously you got to say Dwayne Wade is better than James Harden all time. Obviously, Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan. Talk about the regular season, and outside of those three dudes I named, tell me a greater shooting guard all time. Tell me one. And last but not least, the Los Angeles Lakers did absolutely nothing positive day one of NBA free agency outside of signing Jake LaRivia, which, whatever. The Lakers have not addressed the center and guards positions, in which I think the Lakers are not just one big, not just one guard away. I think they need multiple at both positions to really be a contender out west. The Lakers lost Dorian Finney-Smith after trading multiple picks to get Dorian Finney-Smith last season. You end up getting about 50 games out of that deal. He went to the Rockets. You don't have a big yet. You're probably going to be left with either a high-maintenance big that a lot of teams don't want or a low-maintenance big that doesn't move the needle. I don't think a lot of guys want to play with a 40-year-old LeBron James who's still ball dominant and shoots a lot of threes, and Luka Doncic who's just ball dominant and thinks he's LeBron James. Phenomenal player, but nowhere near LeBron defensively. In LeBron's prime, I would argue he's probably not as good as LeBron defensively in 2025, which is a problem. Luka's about to get $80 million per year from the Lakers in the next calendar year, you would believe. Like, this is just what the Lakers are, a team that doesn't make sense. And I would bet you this one thing. If the Lakers could redo the Luka trade for Anthony Davis, knowing that Mark was going to take over as their new majority owner, you're telling me that the Lakers wouldn't have kept Anthony Davis and potentially use him as bait to go get Giannis? I believe if the Lakers could do it over, seeing what's happening in Milwaukee, the Lakers would 1,004% prefer Giannis, who's older, but still better, and you never got to question his work ethic, and it was like that in Milwaukee. It's definitely going to be like that on the West Coast. I would bet the Lakers would regret the Luka trade. It doesn't make sense as LeBron's probably going to play this retirement game for the next 2-3 years. It doesn't make sense to have Luka with LeBron, no plan at big. Austin Reeves going to be expensive. Rui Hachimura doesn't move the needle. the Lakers just don't make a lot of sense right now. And it's what they've been most of the last 10, 15 years. LeBron came in and kind of smidged it up a little bit and blurred that camera lens. But the Lakers just don't make a lot of sense. And the Luka LeBron move, to me, is a long-term play that right now doesn't make a lot of sense. Y'all let me know y'all thoughts on NBA free agency day one. What were your best moves, your worst moves, and what are you expecting your team to do to improve its roster? All right, I want to thank y'all so much. Oh, there it is. Sorry about that, y'all. I do want to say this. I want to get up out of sports. Sorry, I fidgeted with the audio. I want to just have the full camera shot here. Thank y'all so much for tapping into my live stream. This is crazy to me, right? This is my first time going live on Facebook. I thought I was doing something wrong. Or let me say this. I thought Facebook was doing something wrong. Let me clarify that. It was actually me doing something wrong. So Facebook, this is the first time I've ever been live over here. I got to apologize to Facebook. I was mad at them because I got like 380,000 followers over there on my main channel, and I've never went live, right? And I'm missing out on connection, interaction with the people. So this is the first ever, it's Mr. Teleferro Facebook live stream. You know, with the algorithm, you got to work your way back into it. I got a lot of followers, but from the live stream perspective, it's a ghost, right? Obviously, I do a lot of views on my videos, my reels, but now I got to let the audience know I'm here live, and that's a whole different algorithm. So I want to address that. This is one of my first live streams on the Hoops Pharaoh channel. What up to y'all? I hope y'all enjoyed a basketball cater video to you guys. And I want to reiterate a message that I had relayed over on It's Mr. Teleferro. So I've done 6 live streams in the last 2 hours, and I want to reiterate this message to the people because I mean it and I stand by it. We've done some phenomenal things over on platforms like Facebook. Like I just mentioned, about 400,000 followers, give or take. On TikTok, I'm really starting to figure some things out over there. It's Mr. Teleferro on both of those platforms. But my bread and butter has always been my YouTube. YouTube is my baby. I got 2 channels. It's Mr. Teleferro and Who's Pharaoh. And I just feel like with the changing landscape of content, I have not given YouTube the requisite time that it deserves on its own. And that is going to change, all right? Now, I got to be honest with y'all. I'll share what I said on the other platforms in that earlier live stream. Listen, ego is a real thing. I had friends pushing me towards doing live streams for a very long time, and I was a little reluctant. I was having a lot of wins, and a lot of people look at me and they say, you're an OG content creator. I'm still a young man. I'm 31, y'all. I've been at, just content for a little minute. And I'm younger than most of my competition, to be honest with you. You know, when I was working at places like ESPN and I'm working with other companies and collaborations, like I was telling this story earlier, there was a few people that worked in social media. Now there are departments created at a lot of these companies dedicated to the YouTube team, the Facebook team, the TikTok team, the Instagram team. This is a different time we're in now. And again, I'm competing with these people. These are my competitors. I'm competing for eyes. We're all competing for attention. And YouTube's going to need a specific amount of attention. So with all the success I've had over social platforms in general, I got to put a special eye on YouTube live streaming. That's the one spot that I have not got 100% right, not even close, actually. And now I'm doing it. And now I want to fix some wrongs. Now, I want to teach in the midst of this. And it's not like to teach you. I'm teaching myself. I'm learning this in real time. My ego has led me to, which it's a blessing that I got a journalism background. I can go land corporate positions while I figure this content thing out because it's going to take me some time. Essentially, even though I got the numbers from the subscriber standpoint, from the followers on Facebook, like I'm still starting to live stream. This is like a whole new, this is like changing channels, right? Essentially, like you're switching up what you do with your audience. This stuff takes time to get people acclimated to Pharaoh, the live streamer, not the pre-produced content. So in the midst of that, I'm being vulnerable. This ain't a B. Simone video, but this is a real video. I hit my head. I allowed my ego to not do live streaming, even though in a lot of ways I saw this world coming. Because of my ego, I'm going to have to go corporate and take a role and be a part-time content creator until I figure the numbers out and flip it, right? Well, I could be full-time again. And what that means is when I come, I'm gonna have a lot long live streams, and my videos will be implemented off of that. I hit my head. I've always kind of had that honest relationship with the people. I don't mind being vulnerable. I've accepted a great role and a great position that I'll be announcing soon enough, which is like the future of what I got going. But in the meantime, though, I want to let y'all know I'm the ultimate competitor. I want to win at the ultimate levels. I don't like losing. And what you're going to get from me fixing these things is nothing short of effort. I'm going to work diligently, harder, and work with a lot less ego and going forward here. And live streaming is the way that I'm going to be presenting a lot of my content going forward. You don't have a choice, y'all. The algorithm supports live streaming. If somebody watched 3 minutes of one of my 5-minute videos, and then there's another person out there that gets somebody to commit 10 minutes of their live stream, the algorithm is telling you that you like live streaming more than you like videos, right? So the algorithm is going to show you that live stream the next time that person go lives, especially if they start doing it at the exact same time and they're showing you the exact type of content. I don't want to get too nerdy here in this video, but I knew these changes would come in the industry. I was reluctant to do it. And what I missed out was an opportunity to engage with you guys more and more. And for that, I hit myself on the head, and now I got to get back up and get to it. So that's kind of where my mind is at. I think it takes a strong person to get on here and be vulnerable with the people. So I'm going to give myself a pat on the back for that. And, hey, I hit my head. I didn't hit it before. The beauty is I get to hit it with a job, and then we'll get back to it. That's all. No. Listen, man, I'm a competitor. I've won. I've lost. I had a lot of success early. I told on the other live stream, I said this. I was like, Kevin Durant did an interview with LeBron earlier in the day on the Mind the Game podcast. And one of the things KD said was, he said, I had so much success early. And listen, I'm not the Oklahoma City Thunder. I'm not Kevin Durant, James Harden, or Russell Westbrook. I ain't got them in pockets, and I'm not over 6 feet tall. But what I do resonate with what KD said is, I was a young 21, 22-year-old man interviewing some of the biggest celebrities on God's green earth. I was doing hundreds of thousands of views at 21, 22 years of age by myself. I had friends helping me, but I started doing it by myself. Even from a career standpoint, I had a lot of success before a lot of my friends did. What has happened over time is I've seen friends of mine catapult in different fields. I got friends that are doctors and all type of stuff, lawyers, and working I got friends that are managers and supervisors at companies, mentors to people in cities that need them the most. And in the midst of that, I feel like in a lot of ways I got complacent. I got into the bill paying game. I bought a nice car. Me and wifey, we stay in a nice spot. We had a nice apartment, right? We got a nice one. And I feel like in the midst of that, like I cheated the viewer by trying to cheat the process. So I'm going to go back and get back in the lab and correct those things, and y'all will get the best version of me. So thank y'all for anybody that tapped in, Facebook, YouTube. This is a basketball cater video. What we're going to do tomorrow is come back, and we'll be talking Diddy. All right, most likely that verdict's coming in at some point really, really soon, and I'll be back live again, and I want to hear y'all comments and y'all thoughts on the Diddy verdict. All right, 4 out of the 5 out of the 6 verdicts are in. We're waiting on that one RICO charge, and I want to talk about that. It's Mr. Televideo, so the Hoops Pharaoh, my basketball. Y'all ain't got to worry about that, but go over on the other side. And if you're into sports, come over on the Hoops Pharaoh side. I need you. I thank you. I love you for your support. It's greatly appreciated. All right, time, love, and support is what your boy never take for granted. I hope you enjoyed day 1 of NBA free agency, my video covering it. Those are my thoughts. Let me know yours. I'm out.